Hello everyone, let us speak about counting agents today. Counting agent is a representative of a candidate. As the candidate cannot be expected to be physically present at each of such counting places and tables, the law permits the candidate to appoint counting agents. The returning officer shall, at least 1 week before counting day, will inform the candidates in writing the date, time and place of counting of votes. He will also inform them in advance about the number of counting tables that will be arranged in the counting hall so that they may appoint the counting agents accordingly. In a simultaneous elections to Lok Sabha and State Legislative Assembly, the counting of votes will be done simultaneously and the candidates for each will be permitted to appoint their counting agent separately. Like a Lok Sabha candidate can appoint his counting agent and assembly candidate can appoint his agent. Counting agents can be appointed by the candidate or election agent in Form 18. Form 18 of Conduct of Election Rules 1961. 2 copies of such forms has to be prepared. 1 copy is given to the returning officer while the second copy is given to the counting agent so that he can take that on the counting day. Revocation of the counting agents can be done in Form 19. Candidates should compulsorily submit the list of their counting agents with the photographs of such agents to the returning officer at least 3 days before the counting of votes or the counting day. The returning officer will prepare the identity cards for each of the agents and issue the same to the candidate. There is no specific qualification for appointment of counting agents. They should be above 18 years. It is however expected that the counting agent should acquaint himself with the latest instructions of Election Commission and have some knowledge about EVMs and VVPAT. Those with security cover cannot be appointed as counting agents like ministers, government servants or anyone taking financial aid from the government. On the counting day, counting agent must reach the venue at least 1 hour in advance and along with him carry a pen, paper, an ID card and 1 duplicate copy of 17C which is provided by the candidate along with appointment letter in Form 18. Apart from officials on election related duty, candidates, their election agents, counting agents are permitted inside the counting hall after due identification of their identity cards. Each counting agent will be given a badge by the returning officer indicating whose agent he or she is and showing the serial number of the table at which he or she will be allowed to watch the counting. He shall remain in the seat and the table allotted to him. He shall not be allowed to go into other tables. Counting agents are not supposed to carry any mobile phone, laptop or any electronic devices. Counting agents will not cross the wire mesh or barricades. The counting will be done on the tables arranged in rows. The tables in each row will be serially numbered. Counting agents will be seated in their rows in the order in which the names of the candidates appear in the ballot paper. Let us now speak about the crucial functions of a counting agent. The primary functions of a counting agent is to match the CU number with that provided in Form 17C. Ensure that correct number of votes are recorded by the counting supervisors from CU in Part 2 of Form 17C. It must be noted that in general there are thousands of polling booths in a parliamentary constituency and therefore even a discrepancies of 1 vote in average per booth can create a difference of 1000 votes. So, counting agents are supposed to be very careful. Cast votes can be grouped into the following broad categories. Votes casted in EVM, then voted in postal ballot. Even in postal ballot there are 2. One is the normal, the other one is electronic postal ballot. Let us speak about the votes casted in electronic voting machines. At the time of counting, only the control unit of EVM used at a particular polling station and Form 17C is brought to the counting table. Before the votes recorded in any control unit of an EVM are counted, the seals on the control units are checked. After satisfying that the control unit is the same as was supplied by the polling station and it has not been tampered, the votes recorded therein shall be counted. For this purpose, counting supervisors will put the power on control unit to on position. The green paper seal over the result button provided above result section will be pierced through. A result button will then be pierced, after which the total number of the votes recorded for each candidate and nota at the polling station shall be displayed automatically in the display panels of a control unit. The results as displayed sequential candidate wise shall be noted by the counting supervisor in Part 2 of Form 17C. Now let us go into the postal ballots. There are 2 types One is the physical postal ballot and electronic postal ballot. First of all, physical postal ballot will have three parts: the outer cover, the declaration form, the inner postal ballot. As of the outer cover, inside there is a declaration form by the voter. It has to be checked, and once satisfied, it is separately kept aside, and inner cover is opened to count the ballot vote. Electronic postal ballot similar in nature, but the same is encrypted through QR code. Counting supervisors will scan it, and computer will generate a specific serial number which will be manually marked by RO. In case where margin of victory is less than the number of postal ballots rejected as invalid at the time of counting, the RO shall personally verify carefully all postal ballots rejected as invalid to satisfy himself the decision of rejecting such postal ballots was correct. The observer and the RO shall record the findings of re-verification and satisfy themselves before finalizing the result. Now let us go to the result part. Result sheet is to be prepared in duplicate using carbon paper so that there is no discrepancy between the two copies. Original copy of the part 2 of form 17C will be handed over to the RO for computing round-wise tally of votes. The carbon copy will be used for taking multiple photocopies for supplying copy to the counting agent at the respective table. These copies should be got signed from the counting agent present. As a measure to cross-check the correctness of counting, the observer should randomly select 2 CUs counted in each round with the help of additional counting staff. A returning officer should countersign on the original filled part 2 of form 17C after satisfying himself that the same has been properly filled and completed in all respects. The form so countersigned by the returning officer should be sent to the officer who is compiling the final result and preparing the final result sheet in form 20. In addition to above, on the basis of part 2 of form 17C, duly completed by counting supervisors, RO shall get prepared a round-wise statement. Computer-based data entry will also be done in polling station-wise and round-wise. The observer and returning officer will sign the candidate-wise result for the round after checking everything and ensure that the results of the round of counting of votes are immediately displayed on the blackboard. It should also be announced through public address system. A copy of rounds result should be shared with all candidates agents after completion of that round. The consolidated position of a parliamentary constituency by combining the position of the rounds of different assembly constituency should also be announced and repeated at the suitable intervals over the public address system for public. The officer in charge for compiling the final result and preparing the final result sheet in form 20 shall make entries in that form showing the votes polled for each candidate polling station wise, strictly in accordance with entries made in part 2, result of counting of form 17C in respect of each polling station. The number of tendered votes polled, if any, at the polling station shall also be noted in the appropriate column in form 20. The entries so made in form 20 in respect of each polling station shall be announced so that the candidate and their agents may take note of the result of counting in respect of each polling station. Releasing of EVMs and VVPAT slips after counting. After the result of voting recorded in a control unit has been ascertained candidate-wise and entered in part 2, result of counting of form 17C and final result sheet in form 20, the returning officer shall reseal the units and his or seals of such a candidate or their election agent present who may affix their seals thereupon. Award of certificate. As soon maybe thereafter a candidate has been declared elected, returning officer should grant to such candidate a certificate of election in form 22 and obtain from the candidate an acknowledgement of its receipt duly signed by him. There are some special cases if any discrepancies in counting. First of all, a candidate demanding VVPAT paper slips counting. After announcement of result sheets entries, any candidate or their counting agents may apply in writing to the RO for counting the printed VVPAT paper slips in any or all the polling stations. If such a application is received, the RO will pass a speaking order on whether the VVPAT paper slips should be counted or not, as provided in Rule 56D of the Conduct of Election Rules. Situation of recount. After the announcement in form 20 has been made, a candidate or his counting agent may apply in writing for a recount of votes recorded at all or any of polling stations stating the grounds on which he demands such recount. Mandatory randomization of verification of VVPATs. Mandatory verification of VVPAT paper slips of randomly selected 5 polling stations per assembly segment of parliament constancy must be conducted in addition to the provisions of Rule 56D of the Conduct of Election Rules, 1961. After the completion of the last round of counting of the votes recorded in the EVMs, the verification of VVPAT paper slips for such booths shall be done in a VVPAT counting booth, specifically prepared for this purpose inside the counting hall. In case there is any mismatch between the electronic count of a control unit and VVPAT slips manual count, recounting of VVPAT slips of the particular EVM to be counted till it tallies either with the EVM count or on the previous VVPAT slips counted. After completing the process, if there is any discrepancies between the EVM count and VVPAT paper slips count, the VVPAT paper slips count should prevail and the result sheet as per the printed paper slips count is accordingly amended. The above process must be fully video recorded. It must be noted that the observer has the power to direct or to stop the counting of votes at any time before the declaration of the result or not to declare the result. If observer is of the opinion booth capturing has taken place at a large number of polling stations or at the counting venue or accident has taken place in such a case, the observer has no power to order recommencement of the counting. It will recommence only on the order of the commission. If two contesting candidates, any seat happen to secure the highest number of votes and their votes are equal in number, the result will be to be declared by draw of lot. This will be in the rarest of the rarest cases, and in such a case also the matter first should be reported to the commission for such directions as the commission may likely to give. For further clarification, please refer to the counting agent manual prepared by National War Room. Thank you.